Rise and shine. I know, it's 11 o'clock Central Standard Time. So depending on where you are, maybe you're rising and shining or you're already been shining for several hours. Good morning and welcome to Cindy's Kitchen. I'm Cindy, and of course, we are broadcasting from Houston, Texas. This is a cooking community, and we have a great cooking family that joins us on Tuesday, Thursday, at 11 o'clock Central Standard Time. So welcome if you're brand new. If you are brand new, make sure you tell us hello and where you're from. So we'll start our day by welcoming everyone as they come in the room. Good morning, Sue. Hi, Alice. Good morning. It's good to see everyone. Anne is here. Janice is here. I got to see Janice yesterday. You know, it's hard when you have been accustomed to seeing people a whole lot and then you don't see them for a long time. So I had a really great time. I actually got to have lunch with Janice yesterday, so that was great. Good morning, Janet. Good to see you. Lydia, it is going to be a cheesy kind of day. Karen, good afternoon. See, I should say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, right? Because it depends on where you are. Anita, good morning. Good to see you. Anne, good to see you. Mary Beth, I have to tell you, I was so jealous of your trip. Your pictures were lovely. I'm glad you guys had such a good time. Heather, happy Thursday to you. Good morning. Oh, you're going to have kebabs for your tea. Oh, Anne, I am jealous. Are you cooking the kebabs outside or inside? Although I'm guessing it's been so warm in the UK, you may be cooking outside. You're in Indiana and think it needs to be morning too. There you go. Vicky, good morning, my friend. Good to see you. It's the UK, for those that you don't know. Britt, good morning. I hope you found your notary public that you were looking for. But I'm glad you're here. For those of you who don't know, the UK, it has been unseasonably warm there. Very high temperatures. Now, if you're from the South, or really kind of anywhere in the United States, it's been warm and it's summer. And so their numbers may not look like, but what you have to remember is most homes in the UK don't have AC because the homes in the UK are built to keep the heat in, and so it can be very warm. Lisa, good morning. I'm glad the baby is napping, and happy birthday. I do believe that today is Lisa's birthday, so happy birthday. Hello, Debbie. Good to see you. Donna, good morning. Hazy air index 108 in Illinois. Linda Sue, that is warm. Oh my goodness. 108. Ugh. We're just gonna have to find joy in our fans, or if you have AC or the fans, that's where we're gonna have to find some joy, right? Well, let's get started today. Let us do our coffee clinks. Lisa's 22 again. All right. Well, happy 22 again, Lisa. Good morning, Kathleen. Anissa, good morning. Very sticky there, I imagine, Debbie. All right, raise your cups, if you will, and cheers. I have my little Polish town cup this morning. Good morning, Julie. Yes, you are not in Northwest Houston today. Julie took her son up to Wisconsin. I believe it's Wisconsin, for him to start his new job. Oh, not the heat, the air quality. Yeah. Yeah, it's hard. So anyway, cheers and coffee clinks and all of that. I hope you all are having a lovely morning. Wow. 30 plus. Now, for those of you in the United States, understand that, you know, in the UK, everything is in Celsius, not Fahrenheit. So when you say it's 30, how could she be warm? Well, there you go. All right, one last sip and let us get started. Okay, now I will tell you, I know some of you just roll your eyes about my obsession with my dishes, my Polish pottery, but I have everything matchy today. I don't always get all the matchy stuff, you know, when it's in, it's in. But since I was using this cup today, I have this little plate, and then for our queso and our chips, I have the little tray and a little bowl for our queso. How fun is that, right? All right, so those are the dishes we're using today. Put my coffee aside, and we're gonna start with the 85 in the UK with no AC. That is correct, right? And so when you see 85, like especially here in Houston, I'm like, 85? Man, that's like a cool front has come through. Because it, you know, it's nothing to be 100 in the summer in Houston. But again, we have AC, right? So anyway, so let's get started. I love that pattern too, Anita. Makes me happy. And again, with my Polish pottery, every morning I stand at the cupboard because I do have a ton of mugs. And it's just like, what brings me joy? And that's the one I pull off. So there you go. And a humid 85, yes. So you can do this two ways. And we have done 2 different quesos on Cindy's Kitchen. I think we did it last year when all of the Texans were having problems with queso and Mexican food withdrawals since we'd been home. And so we made some queso. But when I did those quesos, I didn't add meat to those. If you all remember when I went to Sam's and did my big meat haul, I brought home, you know, a big tube of hamburger meat and divided it up into about 2.5 pounds each. Now, normally, and several people asked me why I didn't do it, I would have done hamburger magic with the whole shebang. And I didn't at the time. And the only reason, if you missed the reason, was because I was just exhausted. I had done the trip. It was overcast and rainy. And with the 3 types of arthritis that I have, any change in the barometric pressure and me moving so much was just, I was overwhelmed. Everything hurt, and so really, I wanted to do the quick show to kind of give you an idea about how to divide up all the meat and how much money you could save, but I didn't have much left in me after that. So, there you have it. So, today's queso is going to be a queso con carne, or queso cheese with meat, right? And I like it because even though there's no vegetables and it has no nutritional value whatsoever, I'm sure, we eat it like for dinner, right? For me, it's almost a meal. So we're gonna start with, and some of you will probably roll your eyes and say, ugh, Velveeta? Yes. I think at this point in time in our lives, we all know that Velveeta is not cheese, right? And quite frankly, it doesn't even say that on there. You know, it's not like it says Velveeta cheese. It doesn't. And quite frankly, it's, you know, it's a cheese product. It's a cheese, and it says there, pasteurized, can you see? Pasteurized recipe, cheese product. It's a cheese product. It's not really cheese. But, Vicky, good to see you. I do love Velveeta too, but there are a lot of people that don't. Yes, Heather, arthritis stinks. Stinks. I've known Vicky for a long time. You know, Vicky is on, and Vicky, the other Vicky, she and Rebecca and Lisa, we all sold Homemade Gourmet together. And Vicky here, the Vicky that Van Gordon that just said hi, she's here in Houston, and she was actually on my team. Okay, I can't. My fingers are such that I can't pull that apart. Ugh. So I'm gonna have to get the scissors and cut it. I know it is really good. For melting, it is. And other cheeses, there are some actual cheeses. Oh, Vicky, thank you, appreciate it. Autoimmune disorders do suck, I have to say. Oh yes, Velveeta for homemade macaroni. There are some actual real cheeses that are good at melting. The problem is, and if you don't like Velveeta, that's your option, right? Okay, so there we go, in the pot. I already had a half of a package opened, and so I already put that half in, and so I'm cutting half of this and putting this in there, and then I'll put this back. But the oil is crazy, yeah. So like I said, you can get cheeses that
are good melting, but as Vicky says, they do tend to be a little oily, which is not a great, and sometimes a little clumpy. Like I said, there are several cheeses that actually will melt well, but wow, the price. I mean, even Velveeta has gotten a little pricey. I mean, I think this is like $7, which is kind of pricey, I think. But there you go. Good morning, Nina. All right, let me get this. All right, so I have used an entire package. This is a 32-ounce package of Velveeta. As I go through this, if you're alone and you're like, good heavens, is she having a party? And can we come? The answer would be, I'm not having a party, but you could come, right? Come on over. Anyway, we'll eat this, right? We'll eat this. But if you're by yourself, you know what? Just put it all down a little bit. Use a little bit of hamburger meat, or don't use hamburger meat. Use a little bit of the cheese. You can just cut it down. It'll be fine. Okay. I just took my wooden, this is more like a spatula, and just kind of broke it up, right? Okay, tip. Careful what you wish for. I know. If you want not to use Velveeta, add cream cheese to Longhorn. Yes, and that does help. It does help. It really does. Adding cream cheese to another type of cheese. It helps. And I think I heard yes, groceries are going up tremendously. So the good thing about this recipe is you can use this recipe for a whole lot of things. And I'm going to share that. All right, so I have 32 ounces. Did I say 32? Yes, 32 ounces of Velveeta, and I've just broken it up. I used to go ahead and cut it into chunks before I did it, but quite frankly, it's just as easy to toss it in the pot. All right, to this, we're gonna add some things. Now, I'm gonna add, I know, a cream of soup, but this is the way I've always made this recipe, and it's the way I like it. Kroger chicken breast, thighs, legs are BOGO, and they're bags of shredded. Okay. I'm going to have to go to Kroger today, probably. Although I have a lot of chicken from when I went to Sam's. But BOGO, there you go. All right, so I'm using 1 can of cream of chicken soup. Yes, Karen, I agree. It does rock. There we go. All right, so we've used 1 can of cream of chicken soup. If you say, but I don't have cream of chicken soup, I have cream of mushroom soup. You could use that. I have cream of celery soup. You could use that. I have cream of whatever soup. You could use that. There's one grocery store, I didn't have it, but there's one grocery store here called H-E-B, it's in Texas, and they have their brand of cream of soups. They have a cream of poblano pepper soup and a cream of jalapeno pepper soup. So good, which I would normally use, but I didn't have. Now, to this, we're not going to measure, although this is 10.5 ounces, so we're gonna fill this can, or 10.5 ounces, with milk. What kind of milk, you say? Any kind of milk you have, all right? So if you're a skim, if you're a 2%, if you're a vitamin D, can you use almond milk or coconut milk or any of those? The answer is yes. I wouldn't use, like if you use a sweetened milk or a vanilla milk, not certain I would go with that. All right, so now we have our Velveeta, our cream of chicken, condensed soup, and then 10.5 ounces or a can full of milk. That's not gonna do it all. We're gonna need a little bit more. Chocolate milk, yeah, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? Ooh, I'm not certain about that. I'm gonna add taco seasoning to this because obviously we need some, if you just wanted this to taste like cheese, that would be fine. But I like things that have a little bit more oomph in it. So now this is my homemade taco seasoning. We made it on the show, so you know what goes in it. Although I'm gonna have to make some more soon because I'm almost out. But if you don't have this and you have a package, you know, those little tiny packages that say taco seasoning, you certainly could use that. Now here's what I'm gonna use. I'm gonna use 2 tablespoons of taco seasoning, okay? I'm not gonna add any additional salt because if you remember, when we made the homemade taco seasoning, we put salt in here. And if you happen to use one of those little packages that say taco seasoning, it has a lot of salt in it too. Yeah, it does feed a lot, but I'm gonna tell you, Lydia, I'm gonna tell you, Cindy's is better not to use. Yes, yes. Okay, so we've got that in here, and then I'm gonna add 2 more things. And I'm gonna give you options. This is just a can of diced tomatoes with green chilies. You know, the name brand is Rotel, right? Okay, but I just have the Kroger brand. I'm not gonna drain this either. Oh, really, Cindy? Nope, I'm not gonna drain it. I'm just gonna dump it in there. Now, this is the mild one, but obviously you could get the zippy one. I like the diced tomatoes. It's a smaller dice when you get this than if you get like one of the bigger cans that say diced tomatoes. The dice on those tends to be a little bigger, which I don't necessarily care for in my queso, but you could. Now, if you do not have a can of this, or you don't like this, whatever, you have another option, and the other option is to add just salsa, whatever kind of salsa you have. So now this is 10 ounces, so 8 ounces is a cup, so a little bit more than a cup. And so you certainly could add a cup of any kind of salsa or picante sauce that you might have. I have made it before with a pico de gallo. Now, the pico de gallo, you're not gonna have as much liquid because pico de gallo is basically, you know, finely chopped up onion, tomato, pepper, and seasonings. So they do have petite diced. They do, but again, they don't seem as small as this. Just saying. All up to you. So, and if you don't like tomatoes, you don't have to put tomatoes in here at all, or salsa, right? Wholly up to you, because I want to give you ideas, and then I want you to make it fit what you like and how you like it, okay? All right, and then the last thing I'm gonna add in here, and some of you may not, and again, fine, is these are sweet and hot jalapenos. This is like one of my favorite brands, Mrs. Renfro's. Mrs. Renfro is pretty awesome. And I don't know where Mrs. Renfro is from. I think Louisiana, but I'm not certain. Sold by the Renfro, oh no, Fort Worth, Texas. So there you go, it's a Texas thing, Mrs. Renfro. All right, now if you don't like hot, you certainly don't have to add any jalapenos. If you like them, but you don't want a big jalapeno, these are sliced. In your queso, you could dice them up. I'm gonna leave them whole because Philip does like a big one. Jessica does every now and then. I prefer them chopped up, but I'll get enough flavor out of the jalapenos that I'll be fine. If you really like to jazz it up, you could pour some of the juice in here and really make it zippy. Wholly up to you how much heat you like. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and put this on the stove. I'm really gonna suggest to you a medium heat. I'm probably gonna do a medium high just because we're on this show. But you kind of need to keep an eye because even though Velveeta is a good melty cheese, it can get a little sticky. So, but we're gonna put this, Texans like it spicy. We do, Heather, we do. Okay, so I'm gonna put that on there. I'm gonna bring this over here. And then we're gonna have to stir every now and then because we don't want anything to stick, right? Okay, there we go. So we're gonna have to stir just to make sure we don't need it to stick. Now, if you remember, I did say that I need to say, ole, right? I feel like I need to do some Mexican song or, you know, da 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 dun 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 da da. But I'll do that maybe when I taste it. Anyway, so remember when we started, I said that we were doing queso con carne, which is cheese with meat, right? And so the last time we did queso, I didn't add meat. If you don't want to add meat, you could add a can of chili beans or even pinto beans. You could add that. I might give those a little rinse or at least a little drain before I put those in. Or if you don't have any actual meat, you could do a can of chili, right? Just a can of chili you can add to it. And oh, that makes it delightful as well. It's a whole different flavor, but yum. So I want to give you as many possibilities as I can so that you can truly make this something that you would like. Now, when we got back, and you know, I normally do what we call hamburger magic. if you're new to Cindy's Kitchen and you're going, what is hamburger magic? We have done episodes, I think we've done 3 episodes of hamburger magic on Cindy's Kitchen. And I'm gonna go through the process, even though I've already done it, but tell me, say I have, if you have actually done the hamburger magic, if you've given it a try, and you can tell us, did you like it, did you not, what you liked. While you do that, I'm gonna go through the process of how you do hamburger magic, and for those of you who might be new. Now this is a steamer pot, okay? I think at one point I said a double boiler, but it's not a double boiler, it's a steamer. And, and so what that means is we've got a big pot right here, right? And then this top part has the little holes, right? So you can steam. And a lot of people use their steamer mostly just for vegetables, right? Broccoli or Brussels sprouts or cauliflower or however, you know, whatever it is you like to steam. But steaming your hamburger meat, for me, is like all that. And the reason is this. The reason is my stomach gets a little upset when I eat hamburger meat that's been cooked in a skillet, because, you know, you're cooking it, and even if it's a 90-10 mix in your hamburger meat, you know, regardless whether it's a 70-30, an 80-20, or a 90-10, whatever it is, there's still that grease that comes off the hamburger meat. And so what happens when you're making it in a skillet, it cooks in the grease, right? And so there it is, in, out, all over the grease. And even if you drain it or put it over paper towels or however it is that you drain the grease off, you still have all that grease that's kind of coating the meat. For me, it upsets my stomach. So that I can have hamburger meat that's not so greasy, that I can eat, and for me makes it really easy, I buy big tubes of hamburger meat, and so usually that's a cheaper brand, and I use my steamer. So what I do is, so in this big pot, you see the big steamer pot, I put about that much, so maybe an inch of water in the bottom. Bring that to a boil, okay? And then you just put your hamburger meat in here, raw. You can put a little salt and pepper on it if you want, or you can season it. Hold on, I have to give our queso a little stir. Okay. All right. So you just put your raw, do you ever use ground turkey for hamburger? You certainly could, Heather. You certainly, unless you put it on the grill. I love this method, and I'm so appreciative of those of you who have given it a try. So you just put the raw hamburger meat in here, whatever seasoning you want. A lot of times I won't season it except for salt and pepper, because when it's done, then I put it in little baggies and put it in the freezer. And so I have ready to go cooked hamburger meat that just has to be popped in the microwave and defrosted. And then I can use it for anything. But if you eat a lot more Mexican food, you certainly could season this with taco seasoning, or if you don't have a taco seasoning, cumin and garlic and, you know, all those kind of things. Or you could go Italian, right? You could do oregano and garlic and, you know, all the Italian spices in here, and then bag it up. Now, I do not sell Pampered Chef. I do not make any money. Anytime I tell you about a product, I am not selling it. I'm not making any money. As you know, there's no money thing on here because I don't sell anything. But Sue, my Mary Kay lady, gave me this. And this is, I believe, the Pampered Chef version, okay? And this thing is magic. I love it. I never bought one because I was like, I'll just use my wooden spoon, because I've used that for years. But this is magic. Magic, I tell you. It's like a little magic wand. Poof. Anyhow, so once you get your meat in here and whatever seasonings you want, you put the lid on it, and then you let it go to town. About every 5 minutes, take the lid off and take either a wooden spoon or your magic wand and do one of these little pounding things to break up your meat, right? It is a wonderful tool, Heather. I love it. I don't like big chunks of meat either in, like, if you were gonna use it in spaghetti or tacos or enchiladas or whatever you use your hamburger meat for. I'm not a big old chunk of meat. And so I used to do this just with my wooden spoon and take out all my frustrations trying to get it. But this is awesome, awesome. Yes, just like with anything, when there's a new invention that comes out that is really, really great, after a little bit, you will see a lot more of the generic models. And I don't know that, one is any better than the other. I can only speak to the one I have. All right, so once it's cooked, then you'll see that's our cooked hamburger meat in the bottom, all right? Now, if I was gonna save this, what I would do is I would put this out on a baking sheet and just let it come to a room temperature. Yes, Vicki, it is Pampered Chef. And once it came to room temperature, I would put it like maybe a pound or so, or however much you eat. If it's just one, you could do like a handful, or a cup, So between a cup and 2 cups, however much you need, in little freezer baggies. Just make sure you don't use storage bags, use freezer bags. Storage bags have tiny little holes. And so if you use storage bags in the freezer, you're gonna get freezer burn just like that, right? And then make sure you mark on there what it is, and then easy peasy. But for today, I went ahead and did this so that we're gonna put this meat in our queso. Oh, you found one at the grocery store. Fantastic. Now, I am gonna take this out. I'm probably gonna make a mess, but let me see. I'm gonna get a paper towel and set this down just so I can give you an idea about what this looks like inside. Kind of gross maybe, but all the grease, all the fat from the hamburger meat is down there in that water. And so I'm not eating it. The family is not eating all that fat and that grease. It's down here in that water. Now, we've had these discussions about now what do I do with the grease, right? You don't want to stop up your sink. Do we throw it out? Do we put it in a can? You dispose of your grease however you dispose of your grease. And there you go. All right, so I'm gonna put this back on here, and then I'm just gonna set this aside, and we're gonna give our queso one more stir. Benji, good morning. Hold on 1 second. Gotta stir the queso. Oh. Okay. Almost there. The last time I did this, I did it in the oven, and I do it a lot in the oven. Some of that is just because it's easier for me to stick it in the oven and do other things and not have to be over there paying attention. But really, wholly up to you. Benji, my friend, just got back from a carnival cruise, so I'm very jealous. But Benji and her husband and me and my husband, we're going on one in December together. And so that's very cool. So I've known Benji's husband since I was in high school. And then now Benji and I have become really good friends. So there you go. I know, now you need queso. All right, so let me pull this over. All my cheese is melted. Ta-da! Or ta and da, how about that, okay? Everything is melted in there. You can see our tomatoes. Because I use the taco seasoning, you can see the little flecks of the cumin. Oh, so good. All right, and so then I'm gonna tilt you down just a wee tad. I'm gonna take my hamburger meat that is devoid of grease and ickiness, right? And then I'm gonna put that in there, okay? And there you go. How cool is that? No grease, no fat, no indigestion for Cindy. All right, I'm gonna use my spoon instead of that and give this a toss in. Now again, if you're not a meat person, you certainly could just make the queso all by itself and not add the meat. That's certainly up to you. But for me, this almost makes it a meal. And we've had it as a meal. Like before we had kids, Philip and I, we love playing computer games together. And so we didn't have a lot of money, so we might spend $50 on a computer game. And maybe $50 doesn't sound like a whole lot, but back then we didn't have any money, and it was a lot of money. But we could play that game for 6 months to a year. And I would make a big pot of queso, blue and gold sausage. Yes, you could obviously put sausage in there, right? Look at that. Look, is that gorgeous? All right, I'm gonna leave this here. We'll plate up as soon as we finish with our other dish. Okay? So I'm gonna set this aside. And now I'm gonna get out this. Now this is a grill pan. This is a square grill pan. I have a round one, and then I also have like a big grill thing that we used to take camping, but I use here when I'm doing big stuff. How many of you watched, I'm curious, how many of you watched our trip to the Middle Eastern grocery store? I had a good time. We bought a couple of things. I didn't buy near as much as I bought when we went to the Hong Kong market or when we went to Fiesta. I bought a lot of stuff then. But I did buy a few things. But the Middle Eastern grocery store is like not very far from my house, so I could run down there and get what I needed. How many of you had an opportunity to watch when we did our tour of the Middle Eastern grocery store named Zamani? It's here in Houston, Northwest Houston, if you were looking. Linda Sue was with us. All right. One of the things that we found was halloumi cheese. Have any of you had halloumi cheese? Halloumi, okay? Let me know if you've had it or if you've heard of it. I did go ahead, I know. Oh, well, wait, Benji, because I have the matchy plate. And then for our queso and chips, look at that. Ta and da. I know, really cool, right? Okay, I pulled up some facts about halloumi, and I thought I'd share them with you if you've not heard. You have not, okay. Well, halloumi is a semi-hard, unripened cheese made from a mixture of goat and sheep's milk. I know they're pretty, aren't they? Linda Sue, I knew that what you meant. And because it has a really high melting point. So Velveeta, which is not a cheese, but has a very low melting point, which means it melts very easy. If something has a high melting point, it takes forever to melt if it does, right? All right, so this has a very high melting point, which means it doesn't melt very much, which makes this good for this reason. Because of this, a lot of people use it as a meat substitute because you can grill it, so you can flavor it, you can season it, you can grill it, and then use that like a patty on a sandwich or a hamburger, okay? It's also mostly associated with the island of Cyprus, where it has been produced there for many, many centuries. It's also popular through the Eastern Mediterranean, became widely available in Turkey after the year 2000. Here's an interesting thing, in Anne, in the UK, this by 2013, demand in the UK, in the United Kingdom, had surpassed that in every other European country except for Cyprus. So the UK loves halloumi, obviously, right? It is actually produced in the UK under another name. It's produced as Anglum, A-N-G-L-U-M, Anglum. And the reason for that is because the name halloumi it's protected. It's like copyrighted, although it's not copyright. And so halloumi, it can't be called halloumi unless it is either made in Cyprus or made by a Cyprus company. And so there you go. Interesting. The reason it was made from sheep's and goat's milk, a combination, is because in Cyprus there weren't very many cows on that island, right? But of course, as things get more You've never tried it. Well, and you're gonna have to try some halloumi because you can put it on your grill, right? Or in the house, whatever. All right, so here's my little skillet. I am gonna give it just a little spray. Now, you might chuckle. I've eaten halloumi, but I've never cooked it. So this is gonna be very exciting, right? If Cindy screws it up. All right, so I am gonna give my grill pan just a little spray. You don't have to have a grill pan. I just wanna see the grill marks. And then we're gonna put this on my stove and heat that puppy up, okay? And then we're gonna open our halloumi cheese. Although I may have to, you know, the fingers, the Cindy fingers just do not work well. Okay, we'll do it that way. Nope, gonna have to use the scissors some more. I finished another crochet blanket last night, but you know, I used to do 20 blankets, 20 baby blankets in a month. I could zip on baby blankets. And my arthritis has gotten so bad that, you know, I'm lucky to get 3 done a month. But the rheumatologist says it's very good for my fingers to do. I've had to learn to hold the crochet hook a little different. Oh, I have to show you my new crochet hooks. I'll get them in just a bit. All right, so I'm taking this out of the package. Now this halloumi obviously is cut in these little discs, right? There we go, okay? It is unlike like a sandwich cheese, because you might look at that and go, oh, it's like a slice of provolone. But it's not. This is a semi-hard. I mean, it's almost a soft cheese. So this is not like provolone or anything like that, or cheddar, where you know it's solid, right? This is more soft and kind of holy, not holy, but holy. Okay, all right. I'm gonna go ahead. How do you decide between crocheting diamond dot and reading the book, Heather? Well, I'm almost done with the book. My diamond dot is almost done, and I'm crocheting. So, you know, you just kind of go with what you got. I'm gonna go ahead and do all of these so that we can have lunch. Oh, can you hear? Oh, la la la. This package had 4. Now, I will say halloumi was not cheap. I can't remember if this package was $5 or $6. Grill it and put honey on it. Wow. Wow. Yes, Heather, you may think that I'm speedy, but remember that I was a trial attorney for many years. And so when you're an attorney, you have to learn to read. Well, when you go to law school, you may have to read 400 or 500 pages a night for assignments for various classes. So you learn, or you don't make it, how to read very quickly, right? You have to learn how to read and retain. And so, you're finishing your first diamond dot today, Janet? Awesome. My friend Benji, her and her daughter were here. They spent the night before they went on the cruise. And so they started doing my little diamond dot stuff, and now they're doing it. Her husband sent me a, "What have you done? What have you done?" text the other day. Okay. Now I have this on a pretty high setting, so I'm gonna look. Nope. I'm just going to do it until I see the brown marks. Hey, can you sneak in there and get my crochet hook? Okay. This is, I'll show you this. My sister got me this one for my birthday. I think my birthday or Christmas, I can't remember. Anyway, and I'm almost done with this one. This is the diamond dot. I think it's called the Riviera. Anyway, so I'm almost done with this one. It's a big one, but I'm almost done. And then I have one waiting in the wings. I know, right, Lydia? And then I have one waiting in the wings. Anyway. All right, let's check. Nope, we're getting there. I've never made this. So, you know, there you go. That could be bad. We have no idea how it's going to turn out. Oh, so here's the other thing I have to tell you. This past Saturday, my friend Robin and I, there's a yarn store right around the corner, and it's called the Yarn Store, or the Yarn Store Boutique, or the Yarn Boutique. I know, isn't it pretty? Your husband is happy to support your diamond dot. I know, the diamond dots are cheaper than the pottery, right? Anyway, they had this class where you learn to make the clay bottoms, you know, for your crochet hooks. So here's one of them. I made these. How cool is this, right? I made these. I just smushed different colors together. And then on the bottom, see, that's a size F. See? And then this one, I liked that. Aren't that pretty little? And this is a size H. So you stamp it at the bottom.
I don't know that.
Oh, all of this is clay, and then you have to bake it. And then this one is my favorite. It's purple with red hearts. Of course, purple, right? Purple with red hearts, and it's a K. Isn't that cool? So they had this class, and I want to say it was 2 or 3 hours, and she taught us how to make them. It was very, very cool. Okay, let's see. Okay, good enough, I think. I'm going to go ahead and flip, and I'm bringing them over here so you can see the flip in case I mess it up really badly. Oops. Flip. Oh, there we go. Although, not a great flip. This is like me and bad hamburgers, right? I mean, pancakes, right? All right, hold on. I need you to move over there. Move over there so that I can get under this one. This is a little sticky, so oh, I messed that one all up. There we go. It is a little sticky, so I'm very glad that I sprayed. Okay, so there we go. Can you see? Can you see the little grill marks? They're not too terribly dark. Okay. And now I'm going to take, this is a lovely tomato from the farmer's market. Jess ran out and got one because this is how I wanted to eat it. That's lovely. Bought my niece one for her birthday. I think she'll enjoy it too. And so I'm going to slice my tomato, and I'm going to slice it about the size as my halloumi, although my tomato's a little smaller than my halloumi. All right. Oh, yum. Yum, yum. And then I'm going to get this little plate. Look at that. Pretty. Matchy. Matchy. All right. Let me get it over here. All right, so here we go. Good enough. All right, so I'm gonna put this on my little plate. Now here's an option that you have, okay? So totally up to you. I'm gonna put this one back over here. You certainly can season up right here. Here's your options. You could, because, you know, you could do a little Italian seasoning on here. You could do a little garlic. I'm just gonna do a whiff of salt and a whiff of pepper, and like not much, just a teeny tiny bit. And then on top of that, I'm going to put my lovely tomato. Look at that. And then of course, because it's a tomato and I can't help myself, another little bit of salt and another little bit of pepper. You could do some balsamic vinegar, either the regular balsamic or the white balsamic. You could do, could you get me a fork, sweetie? Yeah, just a fork. So the balsamic would be lovely. You could do any kind of seasoning on here or no seasoning at all. You could put this on a sandwich, like you were making. Jessica, honey, could you get me a fork, please? A fork, please? Oh, sorry, she gave me a look like, what? So you certainly could do that. Make it like a hamburger. Oh, I didn't see. I'm so sorry. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna pull this back so you can see it. Again, I wanna get a close-up so you can see how gorgeous that is. Oh, maybe I should go ahead and make the other plate too. All right, let me do this and then we'll taste. All right, so I'm gonna take this plate. The first thing I'm gonna do is bring over my lovely queso. Oh, so good. Look at this. Can you see how lovely? Jean, aloha. Good to see you. All right, look at that. Yum. Except I made a mess on the side. So good. All right, so there's that. Got some chippies. These are just, you know, the little round Tostitos. Whatever you have. Doritos, Tostitos, whatever your little heart desires, right? And look at this. Either a snack or a dinner or a lunch. Look how pretty that is, right? Okay. I'm going to taste the halloumi first because I know that the queso is going to overwhelm. You wish you were my neighbor? Oh, Heather, well, I kind of wish you were my neighbor too. All right, so I'm going to cut this in half first, and then I'm going to cut me a little bite. Well, not a little bite, kind of a big bite. All right, so there we go. There's the grilled halloumi, right, with the tomato on the top. The halloumi has a salty flavor to it, but not like stinky blue cheese, or it's just a very nice mild salty taste. And because of its texture, when you're chewing it, you kind of have a little squeak going on. Squeaky cheese. Let's call it squeaky cheese. So you have just a little bit of squeak to it, but it still has a nice chewy bite. If you were trying to get rid of meat and you could do cheese, this is a lovely cheese. You can serve warm in the place of like a hamburger patty, right? Very nice, lovely. I highly recommend the halloumi. All right, so now we're gonna do our queso. Again, this is a queso con carne with hamburger meat that we steamed, right? All right, here we go. Look at that. I made a mess already. Look at that. Get back on there. Okay, there we go. The best cheese curd squeak. I've never heard that, but I bet you're right. We don't have a lot of cheese curds down here. I'm a little jealous of you, Billy, that you're so close to Canada and Wisconsin and all that you get more cheese curds. So, I have to tell you that saying cheese this morning really worked out great for me, because now I have two great things to have for lunch. The queso, you know what? I can put that in the refrigerator and leave it. It'll be fine for at least a week. Now you say, that's way too much queso. What am I gonna do with it? If you don't wanna eat it just like a queso, and this is the other thing, you can serve this over noodles, right? You can kind of make like a chicken spaghetti out of it. If you don't use the hamburger meat, you could make the queso, add some chicken, and mix that together with pasta and have like a chicken spaghetti, right? You could take this and just with the hamburger and everything and serve it over rice. Queso is wonderful over any kind of veg, right? So if you have broccoli or cauliflower or squash, whatever your vegetables are, cover those in queso and everybody will love it. Layer it between tortillas and bake it, yes. Oh, you get cheese curds? I've never been to Wisconsin. I've never been there. Anyhow, so there are so many ideas. So when you say that's way too much queso, if you didn't add the meat, then you have so many options, because basically it's a Mexican cheese sauce. Come on, right? So you can use it, like I said, pasta, rice, veg, whatever you want. If you add the hamburger meat, you can certainly do all those same things. Or, yes, except let us not use that. I tasted HH once. I thought it was quite nasty. But, you know, to each his own, okay? Oh, Billy, I would love to come visit you. I really would. Boo-hoo. Someday, my curd will come. Someday, Billy. Well, that's it for today. I hope you guys had a lovely time and that you felt like you were saying cheese do. It's Thursday. Missed the trash guy today because he came so early. We will be back again on Tuesday, because remember, we're down to Tuesdays and Thursdays at 11 o'clock Central Standard Time. I'm so excited that you guys shared in my cheesy recipes, and I will see you again next week. Happy weekend, everybody. Aloha, Jean, and bye, everybody.